your name like a compass, pointing everywhere but home. I chased your shadow through the seasons till I forgot my own. I called your distance patience, called your silence being strong. I kept waiting for your return while I was quietly moving on. I learned the weight of loving you was heavier than the truth, that staying where I wasn't chosen was the hardest thing to do. Free. I stopped rereading old goodbyes, looking for a different end. I packed away the future you never planned to spend. Some nights it still finds me, but it don't burn the way it did. It just passes quietly. I thought freedom meant forgetting, but it feels more like release, leaving love where it belongs and choosing didn't lose you. I found myself. I loved you, now I'm free. No more chains around my chest. I laid your name down gently with all the love I had left. I'm walking toward the morning with nothing left to prove. I love you, now I'm free, and that's the truest thing I knew. Some endings don't feel bitter, they feel like open sky. I didn't stop loving you in anger, I just learned how to say goodbye. in there, like summer forgetting it ever cared. We talk like the night would never end, said forever like a joke we meant. Time was a river we swore stood still. I was learning your heart, you were learning to leave. I remember us too well, every crack and sound, every quiet sign. We never talked around. I remember your hand letting go of mine, like autumn pretending it's just the time. You say we faded, and like it wasn't real, but I remember us too well. We were shoes by the door, half-packed dreams, maps with circles, no in-betweens. You stared out windows like you knew the end. I kept fixing storms I couldn't bend. Every promise felt heavy in your mind. Every truth I carried south. You called it growing, I called it pain. Same breaking away, different names. I remember us too well, every crack and sound, every quiet fight. We never talked around. I remember your hand letting go of mine, like autumn pretending it's just the time. You say we faded, like it wasn't real, but I remember us too well. Maybe love's not meant to last forever. Maybe it's just meant to leave a scar. But if I was only passing weather, why does it still feel like I remember us too well, the good and the bad, the way you smiled when you were sad. I remember believing we'd be okay, believing love meant choosing to stay. You moved on like it was no big deal, but I remember us too well. So I'll fold these memories like old letters, not to forget, but to finally heal. If loving you was losing myself, then at least I remember us too well. I stayed honest you stay distant. Every secret, every fear, every fragile piece of me. I watch the leaves fall in our yard, counting moments we let slip. You smiled, but your eyes were far, and I drowned in the space you didn't bridge. I reached for you in the quiet, hoping you'd reach back, but some hearts build walls where love can attack. I stayed honest, you stayed distant. I opened doors, you stayed behind. I called your name through the silence, but it vanished in your mind. I gave my heart with all I knew. You gave me shadows barely true. I stayed honest, you stayed distant, and I don't know how to move. I traced your patterns in the stars, every pause, every slight delay. I learned how to feel your absence like it was sunlight slipping away. I held the rain in my hands, trying to make the storm make sense. But some love is just a distance, some truths are just pretense. I whispered hope into the night, hoping it might survive. But silence has its own language, and yours refused to reply. I stayed honest, you stayed distant. I built bridges, you walked past. I kept my faith in your small words, while the moments never last. I gave my heart with all I knew. You gave me shadows barely true. I stayed honest, you stayed distant, and I don't know how to move. If love is meant to find a way, why did yours just drift? I planted seeds in winter soil, watched them wither and lift. I learned some hearts are oceans, unreachable, untamed, and honesty can drown alone while distance stays unnamed. I stayed honest, you stayed distant. I burned with truth you never saw. I built a fire for us to warm, but you left the door ajar. I gave my heart with all I knew. You gave me shadows barely true. I stayed honest, you stayed distant, and I'm learning how to lose. The wind still moves through empty halls. I still hear what we couldn't be. I stayed honest, you stayed distant, and I'm letting go of me. built my hope like a shoreline, trusting tides would always return. I mistook your leaving seasons for something love would outlearn. You packed your doubts in quiet bags, left no note, no reason why. I stood there counting promises like stars that burned out in the sky. They said love bends but doesn't break, said time would make us strong. But nobody tells you how it feels when waiting lasts too long. I thought love was supposed to stay like rivers know the way to the sea. I gave you all my yesterdays, you gave goodbye pieces of me. I held on when you let go, still believing you'd come back. I thought love was supposed to stay, not leave me learning how to act. You called it space, called it growing, I called it losing you. I slept beside unanswered prayers, woke up missing truth. Your name still lives in simple things, old songs of borrowed code. I keep finding parts of us in places we outgrew the most. I kept forgiving your absence, calling distance just a phase. But love shouldn't feel like standing still while someone walks away. I thought love was supposed to stay like mountains don't just move. I kept choosing us every day while you were learning to choose you. I fought for what we promised, you fought to feel free. I thought love was supposed to stay, not turn its back on me. Maybe love ain't just the staying, maybe it's the truth we owe. If someone can't meet you where you are, that's something you should know. I loved you past the warning signs, past the point of grace. Now I'm learning love can leave, and it still doesn't erase. I wasn't wrong for believing, I was just wrong about you. I thought love was supposed to stay, but not at the cost of me. I won't beg for a half goodbye or a love that couldn't breathe. So I'm letting go with open hands of what I couldn't save. I thought love was supposed to stay, now I'll be the one who stays. Some lessons don't feel gentle, they just feel true in the end. Love didn't fail because it left, it failed where it couldn't end. The road still bends the way it did, dust and quiet just like then. Your shadow's gone from beside me, but I stand where you said wait. The sky keeps changing without you, seasons don't ask if I'm okay. I count the cracks in the silence, like they might spell out your name. You said I just need some time, like time was something I could hold. I built a life around that sentence, watched myself still aches. Your coffee cup still by the sink, ringed with days you never came. I learned how loud an empty room gets when it keeps saying your name. Friends say you should let it go, like it's something I can choose. But you don't just walk away from hope when hope still looks like you. I kept listening for your footsteps on nights the wind couldn't sleep. Some goodbyes don't slam the door, they just stop coming back to speed. I waited where you left me, with the light still burning more. Every hour felt like a question you already answered no. I stood still while the world kept moving, held on tight every trace. I waited where you left me, and learned what love won't say. If waiting was a kind of prayer, I said yours every day. But even God gets quiet sometimes when the answers walk away. I traced our future in the dirt, watched the rain erase the lines. Turns out some hearts don't break all at once, they just get left behind. I waited where you left me, till the ground grew cold beneath my feet. Turn your absence into shelter, made loneliness feel complete. Now I'm packing up the pieces of the life I tried to save. I waited where you left me, but I'm learning how to walk away. The road still bends the way it did, but I don't stand there anymore. I'll carry love like a scar, not a chain, and leave my waiting at the door. We were a sunrise that forgot to rise, still warm but losing light. You laughed like nothing was wrong at all, while something quiet learned how to fall. I kept my faith in the weather we knew, didn't see the sky turning a different blue. I thought love would knock before it left, didn't know it slips out holding its breath. Our love faded without a warning sign. No crowd. Every I'm fine felt thin and small, like a leaf pretending it won't fall. I kept believing silence meant calm, didn't know it was the sound of harm. Our love faded without a warning sign, like daylight losing track of time. No slam doors, no shattered trust, just two hearts turning into dust. I was still choosing you at dawn. Our love faded without a warning. And maybe endings don't always shout, sometimes they whisper their way out. If you told me you were letting go, I would have held you softer, slow. Our love faded without a warning sign. I woke up alone while you felt fine. I was fighting for what we were, you already somewhere else unsure. I learned to love with open eyes, even when love fades without a warning. So I'll gather the light you left behind, carry it forward one step at a time. Some goodbyes don't come with a sound, they fade away without a warning. That morning felt heavier than rain. Even the sky would look my way. Your name buzzed quiet in my phone, like it already knew what you'd say. I paced the floor with coffee cold, watch the clock forget to move. Every second said be patient, but patience doesn't make you choose. I kept calling out your heart like yelling down an empty street. Some echoes sound like promises till you realize it's just you speaking. It was the day love stopped answering, left my words unread by the moon. I said everything I could say right, but still said it too soon. I learned silence can be louder than goodbye you never gave. That was the day love stopped answering, and I finally felt the weight. day love stopped answering, when hope went straight to voicemail. I left my soul in a message long, knew it was gonna fail. Now I'm learning how to breathe again in the quiet you became. That was the day love stopped answering, and nothing sounded the same. So if you hear this song someday, know I called until I broke. Love didn't die in anger or fire, it just stopped picking up the phone. You stood right there, close enough to touch, but miles lived in your eyes. I kept reading between your breaths, looking for a reason why. Your words were warm like summer rain, but they never reached my skin. I was knocking on your front door while you were already letting go within. I blame the time, I blame the scars. I said love's patient, love will wait, but patience turns to quiet pain when hope's the only thing that stays. It was the distance you never closed, the space you called not now. I kept leaning in with all my heart, you kept stepping out somehow. I tried to build a bridge from trust, you watched it fall apart. You weren't far in miles of roads, just far away in heart. It was the distance you never closed. I learned your moods like changing skies, storms you wouldn't name. I held the sun for both of us while you stood in the shade. Every promise felt half spoken, like you were leaving room to run. I kept choosing you every day. You kept choosing no one. I called it death, I called it fear. I said they just need time, but love don't whisper maybe when it's meant to stay alive. It was the distance you never closed, the step you wouldn't take. I gave you all the best of me, you gave me your escape. I was reaching out with open hands, you were holding on to doubt. You stayed just close enough to keep me, never close enough to count. It was the distance you never closed. Love shouldn't feel like waiting rooms or bags packed by the door. If someone wants to meet you halfway, they don't leave you wanting more. I stopped measuring losing you, but softer than the truth you proved. It was the distance you never closed. No matter how I tried, I crossed oceans in my chest. You wouldn't cross the line. I thought love meant holding on, no matter what it cost. Now I see some hearts don't break you, they just stay forever lost. It was the distance you never closed. So I'm walking toward the open road where love don't feel like war. I didn't lose you in the end. I lost the space I begged you for. We were barefoot on a gravel road, sunset caught in your tangled hair. You said, promise me we'll never fade. I crossed my heart like it was a prayer. But love's a fire you can't outrun. Even rain gets tired of falling down. I held your hand like it was enough. Didn't know I was already losing ground. I tried to be the shelter in your storm, tried to be the light you needed most. But some hearts break quietly, like waves that never reach the coast. I poured my soul into the cracks where your hope was leaking through. I stayed when staying hurt like hell still couldn't make you choose the truth. Now I'm standing in the ashes alone with nothing left but what we gave. I loved you harder than I knew how to breathe, but you were the love I couldn't say. Your silence grew like winter vines, crawling up the walls of us. Every word I tried to say turned into dust before it was trust. You smiled like you were already gone, eyes looking past my name. I kept fixing what you never broke while you let go without the shame. I was building bridges out of tears while you were learning how to leave. Some goodbyes don't say a word, they just slowly make you bleed. I poured my soul into the cracks where your hope was leaking through. I stayed when staying hurt like hell still couldn't make you choose the truth. Now I'm standing in the ashes alone with nothing left but what we gave. I loved you harder than I knew how to breathe, but you were the love I couldn't say. If love was enough, you'd still be here. If effort counted, you'd still care. I'd trade every tomorrow I have just to go back to when you were fair. But you can't hold what won't hold you, can't fix a heart that's already brave enough to walk away from someone who would have died trying to stay. I laid my heart on the railroad tracks, hoping you'd feel the pain. But you watched the train go by like loss was just another name. Now I'm let you go like leaves falling from the rain. I loved you with everything I had. You were the love I couldn't say. to the open sky, let the mountains heal my pain. Some loves aren't meant to last forever, they're just meant to leave a stain. We were a campfire fading in the rain. I kept feeding the flame. You watched it change. I built a shelter out of maybes and hope. You stood in the doorway, already gone. I learned your silence like a second skin. Every pause was louder than the truth within. I mistook your stillness for peace of mind. Thought love was patient if it stayed behind. I was swinging my that never fought back for me. We were footprints ending at the edge of the sea. I kept shouting your name, waves swallowed me. You said I'm tired, I heard give it time. I kept watering weeds, calling it a vine. Every promise you made had a crack in the bone. I carried them all like I was alone. I kept mistaking that won't bleed. So here's to the fire I kept alive alone, to the truth I found when you let me go. I'll walk toward a sunrise you never saw. I won't fight again for a love that never fought back.